Two of the ingredients in this famous weed spray cancel each other out before they ever reach a weed, and yet by morning it still seems to work. You mix baking soda, vinegar, a squirt of dish soap, and hot water, pour it along the cracks in your path, and by the next day, the green is drooping, browning, curling at the edges. A neighbor swears by it. The comment sections swear by it, in a dozen languages. It costs almost nothing. Every ingredient is already in your kitchen, and the first time you watch it work, it feels like you beat the whole lawn care aisle for the price of a spoonful. So which is it? A brilliant hack, or a recipe quietly working against itself? Hold that question. Welcome to the Green Archive. Today we open the file on the most shared homemade weed killer online, the neighbor's secret that promises weeds gone almost overnight. And we do not open it on the wilting leaf you can see. We open it on the fizz, that soft hiss of bubbles when the vinegar meets the baking soda, because that sound is the sound of the recipe defeating itself. Start with what the video promises: a triple attack. The vinegar, it says, strips the waxy coat off the leaf. The dish soap helps the liquid spread and cling, and the baking soda raises the pH and pulls the water out of the plant. Three weapons, working together, stronger than any one alone. It sounds airtight. It is, in fact, exactly where the whole thing quietly falls apart. Because vinegar is an acid, baking soda is a base, and the very first thing an acid and a base do when they meet is neutralize each other. That fizzing you see when you pour them together is not power being unleashed. It is the reaction burning itself out in front of you. The acid and the base consume one another and leave behind carbon dioxide, water, and a little dissolved salt. The sharp acidity that was supposed to scorch the leaf, blunted. The high alkalinity that was supposed to shock the plant, blunted too. You mix two active ingredients, specifically so they could destroy each other before they ever reached a single weed. So why does it seem to work at all? Two reasons, and neither is the one you were sold. The first is the dish soap, the ingredient everyone treats as an afterthought. Soap is a surfactant. It breaks the surface tension of the water so the spray stops beating up, and instead spreads into a thin film across the waxy leaf. On its own, it does not kill much, but it is a real delivery system. The second reason is simpler still. Hot water and leftover salts, drying on a thin leaf under the sun, will scorch tender tissue. What you are actually watching is heat, soap, and desiccation, not the grand chemical triple attack. The weeds that wilt are the young, soft ones, and that is the first clue to what this spray can and cannot do. If you genuinely want the acid to work, the archive is blunt about it. Use the vinegar alone. Acetic acid, sprayed on a hot, dry day, really does burn the surface of a leaf. If you want the sodium to work, use the baking soda alone, where its salt can settle and stress the plant. But combined, in the same bottle, they are two soldiers who shoot each other on the way to the fight. The neighbor's recipe is not a miracle. It is a chemistry lesson pointed in the wrong direction. Now the most honest question in every comment section: does it kill the root or only the leaf? Here is the answer the recipe never gives you. Whatever burning does happen, happens on contact. It scorches the green tissue it lands on, and nothing more. It does not travel down inside the plant. It is not systemic, and beneath that crack lives the part nobody films, the root bank. A dandelion holds a taproot that drives deep into the soil. Bindweed and ground elder store their energy in pale underground stems that creep sideways like a hidden net. Mare's tail and Japanese knotweed keep reserves so far down that no kitchen spray will ever reach them. Burn the leaves, and you take only what the plant could afford to lose. The reserve below is untouched, so it simply spends it and pushes fresh green up within weeks. This is the erased hero of the whole story, not the spray, but the survival system buried beneath it. Beat the leaf, and you win the afternoon. Ignore the root, and the weed wins the season. So is the recipe worthless? No. It is a tool aimed at the wrong target. On young annual weeds, the soft seedlings in the joints of your paving, caught early, a contact burn can be a real kill because they have almost no reserve to draw on. On established perennials, one spray is round one, never the verdict. There, your only honest options are patience. Spray. Let it regrow. Spray the new growth again to keep draining that root over weeks. Or the method gardeners used long before any bottle promised overnight magic. Wait until after rain, when the soil is soft, and pull the whole plant so the root comes up with it. And now the warning the recipe leaves out entirely, because it may matter more than all the rest. Baking soda is sodium bicarbonate. It is a salt. The reaction with vinegar leaves salt behind as well. Sprinkle it into the same cracks week after week, or pour it across a bed, and that sodium builds up in the soil. Salt does not wash away kindly. It pulls water back out of roots. It poisons the quiet soil life that keeps ground healthy, and it creeps sideways to the plants you never meant to harm. Use it on a paved joint, a driveway seam, a path. Never in a bed you still intend to plant, and never as a routine you repeat without thinking. A quick word on the vinegar itself, because the comments are full of confusion. The bottle in your kitchen is usually 5% acetic acid. The version in many of these videos, filmed abroad, is 10%, twice as strong, and far harder to find on an American shelf. And the horticultural vinegar some viewers reach for next, at 20 or 30%, is a genuinely caustic chemical that can burn skin and eyes. If you step up in strength, step up in caution. Read the product label. Check your local rules on spraying paved or sealed surfaces where runoff reaches storm drains, and wear gloves and eye protection on a still day so nothing drifts onto you or your plants. Homemade does not always mean permitted. Because natural does not mean harmless, and this spray does not choose its targets. It will scorch a seedling you love as readily as a weed. It works only on a hot, dry, sunny day, when the leaf is losing water fast. Spray before rain, and you rinse your work straight into the drain. Spray in a dewy morning, and you dilute it to nothing. And remember the gentlest voice in every comment thread. To a bee, many of those weeds are flowers, and to your grandmother, some of them were dinner. Because that is the deepest thing this file has to teach. The dandelion you are trying to erase from your path was once carried across oceans on purpose, planted as food and medicine, its leaves long eaten as a nutritious wild green, a spring tonic in traditional kitchens rather than a nuisance. Purslane, chickweed, lamb's quarters, the plants we now drown in homemade acid were staples that carried people through hungers our great-grandparents still remembered. Somewhere along the way, we stopped seeing a harvest and started seeing a nuisance. Nothing about the plant changed. Only the language did. So if the spray is only ever a patch, what actually keeps weeds down? The answers are older and duller than any viral recipe, and they work. Mulch, a thick blanket of bark over your beds, straw around your vegetables, burying the light that weed seeds need to wake. Sealing the cracks and joints in your paving, so seeds have nowhere to land in the first place. And corn gluten meal, spread early in the season, acting as a pre-emergent that stops new seeds from taking root, though it will not touch a weed already growing, and it will hold back the vegetable seeds you sowed nearby just the same, so use it with your eyes open. So here is the protocol the archive recommends. 1. If you spray, skip the fizzing mixture. Choose either vinegar alone or a soapy solution alone, and know that you are treating the leaf, not the root. 2. Use it only on young weeds in paving, on a hot, dry day, never in a bed you plant. 3. For anything perennial, plan to repeat, or pull it out by the root after rain. 4. Keep the sodium off your soil, the acid off your good plants, and both away from the bees. 5. For the weeds you truly want gone for good, reach for mulch, sealed joints, and prevention, not a bottle. The neighbor's secret was never quite a lie. It was a true story told only halfway. The fizz without the chemistry, the leaf without the root, the overnight promise without the season, the salt without the soil it slowly poisons. You came here for a recipe that makes weeds vanish by morning. You leave as the person who knows why two ingredients cancel each other out, what the spray really kills, what it leaves alive underground, and which of those weeds your ancestors would have carried to the table instead. That is what an archive is for, not to hand you a miracle in a spray bottle, but to hand you the whole record. And if you want the next file opened with you, that is what subscribing is for. If this changed how you will treat that crack in your path, tell me in the comments, what weed are you really fighting, and is it the leaf you are after, or the root? The archive stays open.